mm Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening. This is the Angels in Politics broadcast. You are the news, and I am the white collar goon, your creative and artistic manifestation, interpretation, expression, or the expressionist of Angels in Politics. And it's good to have you here. Have you had your meal as of yet? Okay. What about your lunch or your dinner? So no meals for you. This is actually okay. I'm having this juice that I made, and it's kicking off right now. Like I can't even lie to you. Like it's. I mean, I just went grocery shopping this morning, so I got the goods in here. Avocados in here. A pear is in here. One of those juju pears that gives you good juju. A gala apple is in here. Red apple, very crisp, very fresh. Blueberries are in here. Of course, the basis or the foundation of this is always kale. You need the kale, everyday kale. I don't have kale every day, but I feel like if you were to, if you were to have a vegetable on a consistent basis, I think kale wouldn't hurt. Good morning. Um, so yeah, that's what I've been having. What else is in here? Um, Wheatgrass powder, ashwagandha. That's a normal. I didn't throw any apple cider vinegar in there this morning because I have it in my water. I have that in some lime, hot water. That's what I started off with whenever I came back from my run. So this is just getting me going before I have. Well, I wanted to be somewhat satiated or have some type of sustenance whilst I speak to you this morning. Mm, it's very good, very good, very fresh. Okay, so boom. Um, what do I want to start off with? One, I will just say baby. You know, babies are a good thing. Not toddlers. I'm talking about the acronym BAYB. Be about your business. And somebody might say, "What is your business? What is my business?" Like, what does that mean? Well, your business is you. You're the sum of all your parts. You're the sum of all your experiences. You are the supercomputer in your software, your operating system, your application programming interface, your interface, everything that uh, encompasses you or that is a part of you, integral to you. You're a multitude of these components and intricacies and parts, and the way you improve or augment or upgrade your hardware, your software, your processing power, your input, your output is based on what you immerse yourself in, what you what it is that you're learning, who you interface with, who you tend to be around, your environment. That's another word for saying environment. That's a lot of words for saying your environment, your culture. Culture, what is that? Culture is whatever it is that you do. That's all culture is. Culture is what you do at the time. And if your culture is um, constructive activities, productive activities, um, you have a system of synthesis or a system of synchronicity or a system of sequence, and within your system is nothing but you know efficiency, effectiveness, easeful, peaceful, purposeful lives, doing things with intention, doing everything with intention, based on what you read, based on who you speak to, based on the music that you listen to, the films that you watch, the content that you create and procure, the wealth that you procure, the wealth that you accrue, the investment that you immerse yourself in: personal self-development, spiritual self-development, emotional, cognitive, psychological, social, did I say that already? Development. I mean, this is if that becomes a part of your system of synchronicity, then imagine how you're able to interface with the moon and the stars. Imagine how you apply that programming to to nature, to the earth, to the trees. Imagine how you are at one with the water, and you're able to float, and you're able to insinuate yourself in the streams, in the rivers. Oh my goodness. So I mean, that's on a physical plane, but imagine how you're able to just chat your shit whenever you meet somebody new. All right, you're able to establish relationships. What is life is about, or what is life about? Of course, you know it's about self-actualization. You know it's about self-realization. You know it's about becoming your archetypal quintessential superhero, and your superhero powers, your powers or your unique nuances, idiosyncrasies, peculiar aspects of your life that makes you unique, makes you different, makes you you. And once you emphasize on those, once you amplify those, once you continue to cultivate and refine those, and learn new powers. Oh my gosh, you have the foundation of powers, but you can always acquire new things. Maybe you're like a Kakashi Sensei. Maybe you're one of those kind of guys who, oh, now that I've seen it done, what's that man from Hunter x Hunter, Crollo. Crollo's one of the villains, but after he sees a jutsu, after he sees one of your skills, after he sees your powers, he can use it. He can use it on you. And sometimes he can use it better than you. Do you hear me? So, I mean, a lot of those times you got to figure out what it is for you, but that's your own system, you know? But what is life about? Let me go back. Life is about meaningful relationships, establishing meaningful relationships, cultivating those, sustaining those, right? So, you take your spiritual gifts and you apply that to your relationship building. You take your spiritual gifts and you apply that to your meaningful work. Your meaningful work will be through the meaningful relationships that you acquire and that you sustain and that you establish and that you continue to develop. Okay, so that's just like my foundational, that's just my angels in politics like shtick. You know, that's just like, my father is here. That's just like how I do things, right? But on another note, let's talk about manifestation. So when I just picked up my phone just now, I try not to look at my phone when I wake up in the morning, you know, so I can get onto my. I mean, it just really, it's not a part of my system in the morning. So other than like my alarm or whatever the case may be, but I don't like surf my phone. And I saw that it was my homegirl's birthday today. Um, this was a young lady who I haven't seen in years. She ended up going to my university, but we grew up together, like primary school, like intermediate school, junior high, like all of that stuff. She was all like she lives down the street, and I remember, I remember there was a time whereby like people would say, and this was like maybe her friends or whatever the case may be, and I remember being like in the fifth grade, and people would come up to me and they would say, "Oh, you know, so and so likes you. So and so's, you know, essentially she's king. You know, she's king, bro. Like, she talks about you, and you know, she just mentions you. She brings your name up. She has respect for you, um, and it's flattering. You know, it's flattering to hear that. Of course, um, it doesn't matter if you're in the fifth grade. How old are you in the fifth grade? 11, maybe. Like you're not even 12, probably. You might be 10. You know, but just to hear that somebody finds your aesthetic, you know, appealing or pleasing, or you know, they feel that you have some type of um, I don't know. I guess it might be. It's attractive to hear that you are attractive to other people. And she didn't use those words attractive. She just said she liked you, and she didn't even tell me that. That was just her friends that said that. So I guess it shows how women can be shy. Young ladies can be shy. Um, a lot of men can be shy too. Um, but I want to talk about manifestation because, you know, a lot of times you can take those type of early childhood puppy love or puppy dog type of um, relationships, and it wasn't a relationship. It was a friendship, but you can kind of take those things for granted because, you know, a lot of times girls, it takes a lot. it takes a lot for girls to express to a guy that she likes him. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot. It takes a lot for a guy to express to a woman that she likes him. It takes a lot for a guy to tell a woman, hey, like I'm keen, I'm pressed, I'm intrigued. I was watching this old film. It's a classic film by Martin Scorsese called Taxi Driver. And that man De Niro pulls up on the lady up in the political office, in the campaign office, and it's like, yo, I had my scope on you, homegirl. Like I definitely had my scope on you, and I see you interfacing with homeboy, and I know you're not giving him any rhythm. Like I can tell that there's no chemistry there. I can see from afar, like you think he's a lame, you think he's a herb, and I particularly think he's goofy as fuck. So have coffee with me. Let's grab some coffee and maybe a slice of pie. I'm intrigued. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Homegirl's looking like, yo. She's looking like, yo, like, do you think she respects that? Of course she does. Do you think it's a bit assertive? Do you think it's a bit domineering? Do you think it's a bit straightforward? Do you think it's a bit, like upfront, honest to say the least? Maybe. It depends on the beholder. It depends on the individual. There are some ladies who actually feel like, dude, that is your fucking job, bro. Like that is what you're supposed to do. Like that is what guys do. And there's a lot of women who say, like, I don't have guys saying that to me. And if they do, they don't look like 28-year-old Robert De Niro. Like so it's a different type of archetype that might be approaching them, or they may not get approached in that light. Okay, and as soon as I said light, you see how that solar energy just beams down, because it's not about me, it's about you. And I want you to understand, like, you are what you manifest. You are what you manifest. When I thought about my homegirl from the 5th grade, when she liked me or whatever, I'm gonna be all the way trail with you. Like, I didn't feel like she wasn't the archetype that I would have invested my time with, as far as a relationship, a friendship, of course, and it is a relationship. A friendship is a form of a relationship, but I wouldn't say that she would be a romantic significant for me. I don't know if I would have been. Well, I'm all about insinuating a romantic notion or romantic ways of being with everyone, and I feel like that's the reason why I champion the divine feminine. But in the 5th grade, when I was 11, seeing this young lady or hearing from her friends that she liked me, it made me feel good. But I didn't act upon it, of course, and I kind of like brush it off, like, oh, like I hear it, but I kind of don't want to like respond to it. Like maybe it might go away if I don't say anything about it. Maybe she, just because she wasn't what I wanted at the time. And she's a wonderful young lady, and she was back then. But it's funny because as you mature, and as you continue on your journey of growth and development, and spiritual cultivation, and you start to focus on the mind, body, and soul, and these words like synchronicity and synthesis and alignment and purpose and intention really start to ring true. And then I realized, well, damn, whenever I was at my like different locations, when I was placed in different environments, different ecosystems, and I met the varieties of women that I was able to maybe work with or maybe see in public venues or just see in passing, I realized, like, wow, there are specific archetypes that I'm more drawn to, for sure. But I found that a lot of those archetypes may not have been that drawn to me. Or if they were, they didn't express themselves to me in the way that, like, homegirl from the 5th grade, and homegirl from the 5th grade didn't come up to me and say, I like you. Like, she wasn't the female version of Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver either. But it's like, I wanted to manifest that. Like, I wanted to manifest, like, the archetype that I liked to have girls or her friends come up to me and say, "Hey, my friend thinks you're cute," or, "My friend is keen," or, like, "My friend is interested," to say the least. Okay, no, she's low key keen. Like, pull up on her. And there were times that I did get like hints from certain women that, like, hey, basically they said it without saying it. Like, there were some women who probably were like, maybe you should try to talk to her, or maybe you should say something to her. Like, not to say like she likes you, or not to say like she's talked about you before, or not to say like, brother, if you just pull up on her and just, don't go off on your stream of consciousness tangents, and just like look at her, look into her eyes, and just not talk so much, you might have it set up for you. But no, like, a lot of times girls would just say, they wouldn't say anything, and it's understandable. I think that's women's jobs, not to like make a guy comfortable in that sense, or pat his ego, or stoke, or stoke his the flames of his pride and ego by saying, "Oh, like, my friends like you," or whenever you guys are away and us girls have our girl talk, we mention people like you or other people like you, or whatever the case may be. And maybe they don't say that because they literally don't. Like, maybe it's like that is the mindset. Is like, no, like, our girls don't, like, we're not checking for you. Actually, I've heard from women, like, when we go out, like, we don't look for guys. Like, we're not checking out guys. We walk into a room as women, and they say they can scan within the first 5 seconds, and they see who they need to see and who and they don't need to see. And it's like that. It just moves like that. Um, but it's interesting. What I mean by manifestation is, guys, if you're listening, or ladies too, because I mean, this is for the universe. If there's an archetype that you're looking for, if there's an archetype that you're attracted to, if there are personality traits that, and the culmination of these traits, or the coalescence of these specific traits, on top of the, features or physical nature, because people might think archetype is like, oh, I just like somebody who's tall, or I like somebody who's from this part of the world, or some shit, or I like people who have this accent, or I like people who have this type of like job title. And it's like, well, that's surface level. Like, I'm talking like, yeah, the physicality, or the physiology, or the anatomy is gonna be like pronounced, and it's gonna be emphasized for sure, no matter if you're a lady or a man. And of course, men tend to be, not tend to be, it's proven that we are more visual based. So the illustration, the illusion, the representation of the divine feminine, based on what we have programmed or conditioned to in our brains as to what we're attracted to, is always going to be a bit more emphasized or amplified or exacerbated than the women's ethos, or the way they view it, just because I think women are a bit smarter. I think they're a bit more deep. I think they're a bit more intuitive. I think they're a bit more perceptive. I think they're a bit more. They're able to have that depth of perception, that forward thinking, and they know, it's like, yo, bro, like, you might be looking handsome right now, but it doesn't take long for you to, not hit the gym, and not, take care of yourself because you like to drink so much booze, and next thing you know, you got a pot belly, you're balding, and now I'm stuck with this father of my kid who is pretty much not what I'm looking for physically, and he wants to put it inside of me all the time. Like, I mean, girls can like kind of see that from like ahead of time, so they're aware that it's like, it can't just all be physically based. But for guys, man, trust me, dude, if you wanted the dancer, or if you wanted the person who was extroverted or introverted, and was high in eroticism or low in eroticism, or the person who was agreeable or a bit disagreeable, or you wanted that individual who was high in trait openness, and or very low in trait openness. Maybe she's a stickler, maybe she's high in conscientiousness, maybe she's very diligent, maybe she's very structured, maybe she's very hardworking, maybe she's very, go by the books, go by the rules, go by the guidelines. And if you wanted that, brother, manifest it based on internally, based on what you meditate on, based on what you pray on, based on whenever you're working out in the gym, or when you're, and you'll need the gym, whenever you're doing your jump rope, whenever you're doing your planks, whenever you're doing your push-ups, you're doing that for that archetypal, divine, quintessential superhero, feminine, individual creator of the universe, purveyor of the universe. You're doing that for her. And whenever she meets you, she's going to say, damn, that is the person that I want. That's the person who I've been manifesting. And that's how you come together and create that union. If you want to get married and ride off into the sunset, God bless. If you just want to open up your own cupcake factory with this young lady, God bless. If you want to start your own, farm with permaculture farm and agricultural farm, and you just want to go out there and plant gardens, and plant in the garden and the roses, and have your own produce and tomatoes and lettuce and bok choy, and whatever the case may be, Swiss chard. Like, I'm so with that. Like, I'm so with that. Like, I'm so with that. So, like, manifest whatever you want, because you will receive it. Namaste. Namaskar.